Good morning, children. Let us continue with the class. Last class I was telling you about how the globe is designed, and I have told you about the continents. That is, the land mass is called as the continents, and the water around it is called as the oceans. And there are 7 continents and different oceans. All that I have told you. Then I told you about how this globe is rotating on its axis. Axis means it's an imaginary line which is passing from the north pole to the south pole. You can see from north pole to south pole. This is called as the axis. On this axis only the globe, that is the earth will, globe means here it is a designed one of the earth, but actually it is nothing but it's a planet. Understood? So what happens on its axis, this earth will be rotating, and for one rotation it takes 24 hours. So let us see what is that axis here. You can see that an axis is an imaginary line passing through an object about which it rotates. The axis of the earth and the globe is not straight. It is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees. The two endpoints of the axis of rotation are known as poles. The northern end of the earth's axis of rotation is called North Pole, while the southern end is called the South Pole. So, I have told you this axis is nothing but the point from where the earth helps in movement, or what you call it as rotation. So, from North Pole to South Pole, this line is not straight. You can see it is not straight. It is just tilted. How much? 23 degree. So, it is tilted to 23.5 degrees, and then on the axis only this earth will be rotating like this. So what happens? The two end points of the axis of rotation. So you can see this is one end point and this is one more end point. The end point which is facing upwards is called as the North Pole, and the end point which is facing to the down, that is South Pole. Okay, so North Pole as well as the South Pole, and while the southern end is called as the South Pole. So North Pole as well as South Pole. Now you see here, halfway between the two poles is another imaginary line circling the earth. It is called equator. It divides the earth into two equal halves, two TWO it is, equal halves. The northern hemisphere lies to the north of the equator, while the southern hemisphere lies to the south. Now, you can see a line passing here. Can you see? This line. See how my finger is moving? You can see here. This line is dividing the earth into two halves. So the half which is just above this middle line is called as the equator. This middle line is called as the equator. Just above this equator we call it as the northern hemisphere, and below this equator we call it as the southern hemisphere. So it is divided into two halves, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, and this middle line or the central line which is passing through the earth is called as the equator, which is at 0 degree. Now, so halfway between the two poles is another imaginary line circling the earth. It is called equator. The middle line is called as the equator. It divides the earth into two equal halves. The northern hemisphere lies to the north of the equator, while the southern hemisphere lies to the south of the planet. Here you can see this is southern hemisphere, this is northern hemisphere, and the middle line is called as the equator. Now coming to the next point is latitudes. If you observe the globe carefully, you will find a number of lines running parallel to the equator. Like the equator, they go around the earth. These lines are called parallels or latitudes. Latitudes are marked in degrees and minutes, where 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes actually here. So apart from their value, the parallels are also marked as north or south according to their location in the northern or southern hemisphere respectively. Now you can see here, already I told you a central line which is passing, that is called as the equator, which is situated at 0 degree. Okay, from 0 degree upwards is called as the north, isn't it? So what happens, you can see the line passing through this, show me that image. Yeah, you see, this is the equator. Can you see? Which is at 0 degree. And up again you see some more lines passing like this. It will be moving around the planet. And this is called from east to west. It will be moving from east to west in circles. and it will be parallel to each other. They will not coincide at any point. They are parallel to each other. So you can see the line which is passing like this till the pole. This circles will be there till the pole. You can see from here, from equator upwards it is north side, from equator downwards it is southern side. So you can see they are moving parallel to the equator. So they are called as parallels or latitudes. Parallels or latitudes. So you can see here, when they are moving like this, they move in east to west direction. It will be moving like this. So when it comes, see, from here to here, you can see the distance is becoming less. The distance means I am talking about the size of that. Circle will be less. As it goes upwards outwards, the circle will be lesser and lesser. At this point, it becomes as a north pole itself. The same in the southern side also you can see. The circle size goes on decreasing. As it comes to the pole, the circle size will go on decreasing. And this is always calculated in the form of degrees and minutes. Understood? This is calculated. These latitudes are calculated in the form of degrees and minutes. So equator is at the 0 degree. As it goes upwards, you can see when it comes to the north pole, it is coming to 90 degree. You are keeping the protractor here. And when you go on calculating what is happening, protractor remains in to find out the degrees. To calculate the degrees, we use a instrument in the geometry, and that is called as a protractor. So if you keep the protractor at the equator at the center point, you see as it moves, you can see 23 degree like that, it goes on and 66.5 here then, and finally when it comes to pole, it will be 90 degree. The same way this side also you can see. When you keep the protractor facing this side, you see again the same way it comes, and when it comes to the pole it is 90 degree. So these latitudes are measured in degrees and minutes. Yes, now you see. So if you observe the globe carefully, you will find the number of lines running parallel to the equator. Already you have seen that now. Like the equator, they go around the earth. These lines are called parallels or latitudes. Why they are called parallels? Because they don't meet at any point. They move parallel to the equator. They don't meet at all. So it is called as parallels or latitudes. Latitudes are marked in degrees and minutes, where 1 degree is equal to, they taken as 60 degree or minutes it is. Apart from their value, the parallels are also marked as north or south according to their location in the northern or southern hemisphere respectively. That's what I showed you. Upwards also it's going like 23 degree, 66 degree and then 90 degree. The same it's coming 23, 66 and 90. So the equator is marked at 0 degrees. There are 90 degrees of latitude going north from the equator, and the north pole is at 90 degree north. Similarly, there are 90 degrees of latitude going south from the equator, and the south pole is 90 degree south. There are 181 degrees of latitude in all. 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes, which is shown here like this. Here it is 60 minutes. So here you can see 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes. Understood? As it moves, there is, for every degree, it is nothing but 60 minutes it is. Next. Yeah, important latitudes. Apart from the equator, 10 degree north pole, that is north pole is at 90 degree north I told you, south pole is 90 degree south. There are 4 other important parallels. They are, see, they are, already I have shown you that actually the previous image. See here. So 4 more are there. What is that 4 more? One is here towards north. What is this? 23 and a half degree north is Tropic of Cancer, and 66.5 degree north is Arctic Circle. Isn't it? Along, other than North Pole and South Pole, there are 4 more degrees they have given here. One is Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, and Arctic Circle at 66.5 degree north. At the same time, if you come downwards towards the south, you can see 23.5 degrees south. What is that? Tropic of Capricorn, and 66.5 degrees south, there is Antarctic Circle. So these are the other 4 points or 4 parallels which is parallel to the equator. Understood? So these are the 4 points you have to remember. Yes. Now, features of latitudes. The equator is the largest latitude. Why? Because it is moving to the center, isn't it? So it is a bulge part and in the center. So this will be the biggest or largest latitude. Lines of latitude run parallel to each other in the east-west direction. It moves in the east, right to left, east-west direction. Then latitudes don't touch or cut each other. They don't coincide, I said, because they are moving parallelly. All latitudes form complete circles except the North Pole and the South Pole, which are points. So here actually North Pole and South Pole also it is a latitude, but what is happening? It is just coinciding like a point it is. So we call this as North Point as well as the South Point. All latitudes are located at an equal distance from each other. From here to here, if you take equal distance, from there to there, equal distance like that. Every latitude is arranged in a proper distance, equal distance. The length of the latitude decreases as we move from the equator to the poles, isn't it? As it comes upper and upper, what is happening? The length of it goes on decreasing, means it becomes lesser. So important latitudes are the Tropic of Cancer at 23.5 degree north, the Tropic of Capricorn at 23.5 degree south, the Arctic Circle at 66.5 degree north, and the Antarctic Circle at 66.5 degree south. Okay, now, okay, so let me stop it here. We'll continue in the next class.